you say this. It never works out that way.
But it should be, Jeff.
We say that, and it never works out that way.
It's working out fine. What? It even picked up your, like, that's bullshit laugh.
Hey guys, welcome to episode 51 of There Will Be Expletives. I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
I got a cough developing. I need plausible deniability for my impending, day off of work.
You're really not sounding good. You really shouldn't. Shouldn't be going to work tomorrow. And as a matter of fact, since we've been hanging out tonight, I think I'm starting to come down with it too.
It's contagious.
Yes.
It's the only cure is Daredevil beating fuckers in the face on Netflix.
Yeah, I think that would do wonders for me. It'd be like chicken noodle soup for my soul.
John Bernthal. So we joke, but it is going to be incredibly...
We joke, but we are calling into work tomorrow.
we are calling into work tomorrow.
That's what I thought you were going to say.
Daredevil hits... Dude, it sucks. If Daredevil hit fucking Netflix like it does on the West Coast at midnight... I would probably get like 3 or 4 episodes watched before going to bed for work. But unfortunately, it hits us at 2 a.m.
Fuckers on the West Coast.
Yeah, fuck them for ruining my plans. So what I'm thinking I'm going to do is I'm not going to watch any tonight. That way I get as much sleep as humanly possible. That way I can watch the full 13-episode run tomorrow without going to bed.
I just imagine you like getting off work and like bolting out the door. And then just like Grand Theft Auto driving your way home up on the sidewalk. Dude, and everything.
Collateral damage. It's fine.
Just like running over old ladies and like ramming into cars to push them out of your way.
The needs of the few outweigh the needs of the many, Ron, when it comes to Daredevil Season 2. All right, well, we've been spending way too much time talking about this because there's actually a fuck ton of news this week to get to. It was painful. It was painful. Because... Okay, usually we have to have like a shit ton of articles up and call back to stuff. It's not really one of those weeks. It was just like there's a lot of stuff that has been going on.
There's a lot of stuff and it's all big, but it all is also self-explanatory at the same time.
Basically, a lot of it's reactionary.
But we're going to explain it anyway because that's what we do here on the Movie Expletives.
Unnecessary information is kind of our bag. First up, we're going to talk about one of the big news articles of the week, and that is, of course, Indiana Jones 5. And they have been talking about Indiana Jones for a while now, but my reaction to it always was they're going to get a new actor, and they're kind of James Bonded.
Right.
Like, not a hard reboot, but you're going to have a new actor, and it's going to not out of nowhere, but...
It can still be canon. They can still make references back to the other movies.
It would probably still be considered a reboot just because it's not Harrison Ford, because he's so synonymous with the character. But what was your first reaction to hearing Indiana Jones 5 with Ford and Spielberg back on?
Just more or less a little bit of disbelief. Just because nothing against Harrison Ford. He's a great actor. He's still got quite a bit of energy left. But... that's a pretty strenuous role. It's not like Han Solo walking around with a blaster in your hand. I mean... you have to swing around trees with monkeys. Like, it's hard, it's hard work. Yeah,
he's going to be 75 when they film.
See, and that... it takes a lot of energy to melt someone's face. So, I don't know.
That fridge is not going to nuke itself, right? Yeah... it's kind of bittersweet. Yeah. Because it's always cool when you get to see someone like Harrison Ford, who is a legend, go back and, play such an iconic role when he still can, because he was awesome as Han Solo.
Yeah.
Now, like, you made a good point of this is not Han Solo, and the difference with Han Solo is Han Solo in Episode 7 was a supporting character. He is now Indiana Jones. So
unless they're pulling like a Fury Road, where he's not actually the star.
I would watch Charlize Theron kick ass in Indiana
She's
Jones
still
movie.
Furiosa.
Just no fucking reason.
Just in the 1940s or 50s.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, we're going to be the opening day, because it's fucking Indiana Jones. And you and I don't hate Crystal Skull as much as everyone else does, because I'm sorry, Crystal Skull is the worst Indiana Jones movie, but I don't see that big of a difference between it and Temple of Doom, honestly. There's a whole hell of a lot wrong with Temple of Doom, too.
I mean, still, to call it the worst Indiana Jones movie doesn't mean it's a bad movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Either.
Like, it's perfectly fine. Like,
people love to shit on that movie.
I hate the Shia LaBeouf monkey swinging parts, but I mean, if you think back, is it Willie? Is that the name of the actress and character in Temple of Doom? I want to like rip my hair out watching some of her scenes in Temple of Doom.
Yeah,
like,
ugh.
It's painful. Like, I don't see a big now.
Like,
I see
Short Round was kind of charming. He gets annoying in places, but he's kind of charming. But fuck her.
It's
dude.
a shrill nails on a chalkboard experience every time she opens her mouth. So, I mean, I'm obviously going to be there opening weekend. If I could, in like a nutshell, pick how they would go along with this franchise, I would bond it and then pick like Bradley Cooper or Chris Pratt and have like a fresh experience to it.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, it is...
He'd never get it, but I'd still love to see Carl Urban.
Carl Urban, too, would be a great choice. It's not... We can't have an episode go by without us referencing either Carl Urban or Stanley Tucci for something.
Stanley Tucci, he'd be good.
Stanley Tucci would be a really, really cool bad guy for Han Solo. He could be a fucking bad guy in anything, but as like a Nazi in an Indiana Jones movie, that'd be actually really fucking cool.
I would still like to see him as Henry Jones.
Yeah. We talked about that because we have to have Stanley Tucci and Carl Urban in every property we ever fan cast. But yeah.
I'd like to have him as a German again, because I mean he was a German in Captain America.
Out of the like feasible people, I would like it to be recast with Bradley Cooper. I think probably be my number one choice.
Oh yeah,
because I think we talked about that a long time ago. The Bradley Cooper idea, because I think that was like Nerdist or IGN or someone that had come up with that. We were like, I never really considered that, but I like the idea.
Yeah, I like the idea. I don't know if it's my number one, but
I meant out of like the reasonable ones. Like Carl Urban isn't going to happen because he's not marketable enough for Indiana Jones, unfortunately.
Which I don't get why, but
at some point, I think he'll get there. It's just a matter of time. One of the podcasters I actually follow regularly made a good point in saying he loves Carl Urban to the same extent we do, and he said Carl Urban is going to be one of those actors who hits A-list later on in life.
Yeah.
Like, he's going to be one of those guys who hits A-list like a Morgan Freeman when he's in his 50s, not necessarily in his 30s.
Yeah.
He's just, because he's going to end up playing those type of roles. Kind of like when you think of like Clint Eastwood, what roles do you think of?
Dirty Harry.
You think of when he's an older, kind of grungy character. I think he made a good point and a good call on that one. But yeah, that's
when has Clint Eastwood not looked old and grungy at the same time?
I'm pretty sure he came out of the womb like
he's kind of like Sean Connery. Like he just came out, he just was born that way.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sean Connery came out of the womb with a beard and it was gray,
and he was bald on the top of his head with hair on the side.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, we're still excited. It's just kind of bittersweet. I don't think the reaction to it was what they wanted. Honestly, it was very mixed. Yeah. I mean, who knows? It'll probably still end up being a good movie. Hopefully, they will have learned... Because I still like Crystal Skull and it gets shit on too much, but it's obviously no Last Crusade or Raiders. So, hopefully they'll learn a little bit.
Yeah.
No Shia. Although it would be kind of funny if Shia is the villain. Crazy ass. Just do it, Shia is the villain of Indiana Jones 5. I'd watch it. But yeah, speaking of iconic Harrison Ford roles, we're going to switch over and actually talk about Han Solo now. We've recently been commenting on the fact that they've been searching, what was it, 2,500? Was that the number of actors?
It was like 25.
Something like some ridiculous, ungodly amount of actors they've been searching through to find the perfect young Han Solo. We got a little bit more news about that this week when they have reportedly narrowed it down to either, depending on who you believe, either 3 or 5. The most notable one is actually Eggsy from Kingsman, Taron Egerton. Why don't we go one by one? What do you think of him as Han Solo?
I could buy into that.
I love him in Kingsman, and we actually talked, maybe even on air, he is matched up with some of the most well-respected and famous British actors we have in the world.
And you still remember him.
And you remember him, and he more than held his own, and seems like frickin' Michael Caine. Like,
yeah.
For his first major role...
He faces down Michael Caine in that, and it's pretty believable.
Yeah, he's got, sees Colin Firth and Mark Strong, like, and he holds his own in every single scene in that movie, and he's really likable immediately. He's very charismatic. I think he'd be a great choice in... He has on his...
He's kind of Han Solo-ish before he joins the Kingsman Secret Service, too. The way his character acts.
What he personally has going for him compared to everyone else on this list is he has been part of a successful action franchise.
Yes.
Because they're making a sequel, at least one sequel to Kingsman, maybe more, and it was very, very successful in the box office. They made a lot more money than they expected. So
they've already been talking about a Kingsman 3. I don't think anything's official, but they've definitely already been talking. I think they said... Was it Halle Berry was in talks to do 2 and 3?
Julianne Moore, I think, was the other name they were tossing around.
I know. I just can't remember if one of those two were in talks for 2 and 3.
Yeah.
But that was the first and only mention I've ever heard of Kingsman 3.
For everyone in this conversation, he is the most...
He's probably the strongest candidate.
He's the strongest candidate, and he is the only person I think I would be okay with that isn't an unknown. Because I know who he is, but I'm okay with that because I see him fitting that role. It's such a hard character to pick because
he's close enough to unknown status too, though.
Yeah,
I mean, he's really only known for the one property, as good as it was.
But it is more well known than the next person we're going to talk about. Alden Ehrenreich or Rich. I have no clue how to pronounce his name.
I'm going to say Reich.
I'm sure I'm butchering it, no matter which way we went with it. But he was most recently, and I guess the only notable thing he's done is Hail Caesar, the Coen Brothers movie that you and I both wanted to watch. We haven't gotten a chance to yet.
Yeah.
Well, at some point, so we can kind of touch back on that, if we end up watching that before this ever gets casted. We obviously can't comment too much on that. I will say we looked up images of him, and just as far as looks go, he looks closer to a believable young Harrison Ford than Taron Egerton.
Yes.
But we haven't seen his acting, so we can't comment on that aspect of him. Next up, we really have nothing to say on this dude, because his name is Jack Rayner, and his only credit on Nerdist is Transformers Age of Extinction. And
oh, jeez. I cannot wait for him to take the torch.
In his defense, I mean, it's not like the actors have much choice in the matter in a Michael Bay movie. You know
what's funny is I haven't seen Transformers Age of Extinction, but I'm looking at photos of him on IMDb, and I recognize him.
Let me see a picture of him.
The one that I recognized him from, I'll show you.
Gripping entertainment on the radio side of things.
That's from Glassland, which I've never seen, but he looks familiar there to me.
He looks vaguely familiar. I can't place him either.
This is his main picture on IMDb.
He looks a little bit like yeah, he does. He has the look to it. I think he looks a little bit almost like fits on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. a little bit, like he'd be like his cousin or something.
A little bit. I'm looking here. He's in Macbeth, also, and that's about it. he's in a few other things, but nothing notable.
We joke we can't shit on him too bad because there actually have been some pretty good actors in the Transformers films. It's just you can't make you can't exactly make a good impression when your director is Michael Bay and you have some of those scripts you had to work. Like Alan Tudyk was in Transformers 3. We love Alan Tudyk. So
what in the fuck is Jungle Book Origins?
I have no idea.
Because he's in that along with Andy Serkis, Christian Bale, Kate Blanchett.
Is this a released project or is it upcoming?
And Benedict Cumberbatch. It says 2017, October 6th.
Huh.
Director Andy Serkis.
Yeah, I have no clue. Aren't they doing?
Yeah, it comes out this year.
With Iron Man dude, Favreau?
Yeah.
Huh.
It comes out this year, and this is Jungle Book Origins. I have no idea what's happening.
Yeah, we got nothing on that one. Let's see. Next up on the list of candidates, we have it all highlighted. I'm trying to find the next person.
Blake Jenner.
Blake Jenner.
Did we ever say Jack Rayner's actual name? We said he's from Transformers Age of Extinction.
I think I did. I can't. Okay. I think I did.
I'm just making sure.
Blake Jenner. His credit on Nerdist is Everybody Wants Some. I'm not familiar with that project either. Man, we are totally fucking up to par.
Yeah, we're
just
talking about knocking this out. Oh, it says he's from Glee.
Not selling me.
Yeah, because wait till you see him.
No. Next person.
Next.
Jack O'Connell from Unbroken. I'm probably gonna assume he was the lead in that. That was the Angelina Jolie movie about the POW dude. I think you remember the trailers for that.
Yeah, I never got to see it, but I wanted to. If that helps. He's also from 300: Rise of an Empire. It says he's known for here.
The guy we're currently talking about, or the Glee guy?
No, the guy we're currently talking about.
Okay.
He's looks more like what's his fuck from Game of Thrones.
Reek.
Yes.
Theon Greyjoy.
Yes. Yeah, he looks a bit more like him.
Like at first we were playing like fucking Password. Dickless. Game of Thrones. Yeah.
We're good at our gerbs.
So basically, I'm on board with the Hail Caesar dude and Taron Egerton, and I don't really have enough of an opinion on the rest of them yet to base a decision, but probably the most likely person, if this is...
It is a good sign, though, that we don't know who most of these people are. I want to say that.
And the people who are in recognizable projects are relatively unknown, like you pointed out with it. I'd be totally okay, obviously, with Taron Egerton. Kingsman, one of your number one movie last year, in my top 3 or 4.
It's probably still my favorite movie right now.
So yeah, he'd be great. Well, we'll just have to wait and see on this, because this could be complete and total horseshit, because this happens all the time where these news articles and stuff like that report on finalists. That's like a buzzword with articles, and then it ends up being complete horseshit. Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. Let's it's probably. I don't know if they've ever talked about when exactly they're wanting this project to happen, because they have a couple of release dates on the docket for the Star Wars spinoffs, but the only one that has a hard release date, I think, is obviously Rogue One.
Right.
So yeah, well, it's probably going to be a little bit longer before we actually get final word on this one. Another, I guess I could say, adaptation they're trying to get off the ground is Tomb Raider.
See, that's where you went? I was going to say, calling back to Raiders of the Lost Ark.
Yeah, it makes sense. This is my podcast.
Because
I control the. I am the
turn this podcast around.
I am the captain now.
Look at me. But no, because the article on this said that they wanted to make it kind of similar. Like that a big inspiration is not just the games, but Raiders of the Lost Ark. I don't think we've said what it is yet. You should tell them.
No, you just go right ahead. Just go right ahead. Daisy Ridley as Tomb Raider.
Fuck yes.
Fuck yes.
Asses in the seat.
Asses are in the seat. Dude, fucking Daisy Ridley could be in, like, Pee-wee's Playhouse, and I will watch it just for fucking Daisy Ridley.
I could make the worst joke I have ever made right now.
It's probably best that you didn't. I'd rather not be on a watch list any more than we already are on.
Dude, not even the NSA listens to us, so it's okay.
So, I think we might even talk about it on air, but we've talked about it at least off air, about how fucking awesome Daisy Ridley would be as Tomb Raider.
Yeah, we've talked about it quite a bit, actually. And then one of my coworkers that's into Star Wars, and she's played the Tomb Raider games and stuff, I mentioned that theory to her, too, like how awesome Daisy Ridley would be. And she was basically just like, fuck yeah.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely perfect.
Absolutely perfect. In fact, she's very Tomb Raider-ish in Star Wars.
First thing you see is she's like rappelling down a thing.
Yeah, and then later she's climbing all over the Death Star like a monkey. And
yeah.
She, not a Shia LaBeouf monkey.
This podcast has gone off the rails so fucking bad in so many places. But no, she was okay. The first thing I think I told you when this was actually announced as a potential thing, because the news related to it is that her representatives have been in conversation with what company is running Tomb Raider? I don't even remember.
I don't even know.
It might even be a different company from who did the Angelina Jolie movies.
I hope.
Now, although to be fair, as far as video game movies go, they're not the worst shit stain we've seen.
It basically met your expectations for what those games were back then, and then what the movies ended up being.
To quote James Cameron, the bar has been raised now. Because
James Cameron,
we just shameless plug. We just started as our next sequential, as our Let's Play series, Tomb Raider. The 2013 reboot of it. Fucking phenomenal game. Like, yes, you were talking about, like, first 30 minutes of that game. The first 30 minutes of that game are more cinematic than a lot of movies we've seen recently.
Yeah.
It's very, very good. She's a very, very strong female lead. The ultimate buzzword. Fucking strong female lead. And the main thing that Daisy Ridley has going for her is if they casted her, it makes this Tomb Raider project immediately more marketable.
Yes.
A lot more than it otherwise would have been.
Especially since this isn't a new movie. This movie has been around, I'm assuming, in development hell, because ever since they rebooted the games, if you tried to look up the game or something on IMDb, you found this rebooted movie. And it's just been sitting there.
Yeah, it's
anyone who is hardcore enough into those games to know this movie exists has already forgotten about this movie. So if you were to pull Daisy Ridley in, which her name itself right now is a buzzword, then it'll turn some heads.
Yeah, and it will do a lot more. Just as far, I mean, her representatives were in talks, and we're talking about it as one of our main movie news articles. Like, if it was actually a thing, it would get so much press. That movie would already have 10 times more asses in the seats than it would otherwise.
Yes.
I mean, because like they could cast an unknown that could end up being better in the role. I mean, we don't know because it's an unknown.
Yeah.
But yeah, their main goal is get asses in the seats, and you can't really get much more, high profile at the moment than the lead girl protagonist of Star Wars.
I'll tell you right now, no matter who they end up picking for this, if it's not Daisy Ridley, I'm still, because of Star Wars, still my first thought will be Daisy Ridley because I want her in that role so bad.
Yeah, she's perfect for it. She even downright looks the part, you know.
So,
not to mention, they can't pick an American actress because American actors and actresses can't do British accents worth a damn.
No, not at all.
Like the British people can do American, like you wouldn't. Like there's a lot. Fucking how many
they
of
do
our
Americans better than Americans?
How many of our current main American superheroes are Brits?
All of them.
Like before. Wait, isn't Tom Holland British too? I was about to say Spider-Man used to be, but they replaced British Andrew Garfield with British Tom Holland.
Yeah, and then Batman because Christian Bale, or is he Australian?
Yeah, I mean, non-Americans playing American superheroes. Henry Cavill is playing Superman.
Yep. The three most iconic American superheroes are all Brits.
Yeah, it's brutal just how shitty we are as Americans at acting.
Yeah,
it's pretty bad.
It's bad.
It's pretty bad. Yeah. On that note, we're gonna move on to the next little batch of news. We got
Speaking of bad acting, Fox.
Nicely done. We got a couple trailers to get to. First up is X-Men Apocalypse, and it looks like they actually pulled a Ghostbusters as far as like that fan-made trailer, because this is a lot more professionally made.
Yeah, they probably went out and got that guy. But please save our movie.
The first notable thing I want to talk about is how much a difference the score makes when it comes to trailers in particular.
Yeah.
Because if you have music that gets you amped up by itself in a trailer, it makes the scenes they're representing a lot more impactful, because the original trailers for X-Men Apocalypse weren't like Ghostbusters level bad. They were just very, very flat. Yes. It didn't get you excited at all. So that was, I think, to me, the most noticeable change. You're still kind of meh because you're just kind of meh about X-Men as a whole. You've kind of fallen off track.
Yeah, I'm just kind of burned out on it, I think.
I am more interested in it than you are, just because I really, really like Days of Future Past.
Well, here's the thing. The Marvel movies all follow a similar formula, right? And, you can say what you want about that, but the truth is they each have a slightly different tone. They're each still kind of their own thing. And then now, ever since Guardians, they have been taking that to the nth degree. So Guardians was basically Firefly, Marvel's version of Firefly, and / Star Wars / everything else in that genre.
Ant-Man's like Ocean's 11.
Ant-Man was Ocean's 11. And then odds are Doctor Strange is a horror movie. So, now they're giving them
horror elements when they do the interdimensional stuff, at the very least.
Yeah, they all had their own tone, but now they're all going their own different directions on top of it. X-Men always just kind of feels like the same movie to me.
X-Men still... I will be the first one to tell you I really, really like Days of Future Past, but X-Men does feel kind of rooted in 2003. Like, they can't get out of the mindset of the first couple of X-Men movies, which were really good movies, and I'm not, knocking them, but they've never really, like you pointed out, gone out of their way to differentiate anything.
Yeah.
Now, there are, you haven't seen it, but there are some interesting elements going on in Days of Future Past, because it was the first time they kind of went timey-wimey with it.
Yeah.
Because now you went back in time for First Class, but a big part of the story in Days of Future Past was the merging timelines and stuff like that. Like, it was almost like a Doctor Who episode in a lot of ways, which is one of the reasons I liked it so much.
Mm-hmm.
And I like what they're doing with X-Men Apocalypse as far as the Horsemen. I'm actually a lot more interested in the Horsemen than I am Apocalypse, which is a problem.
Yeah.
I really, really like Fassbender's Magneto and Olivia Munn's Psylocke as two of the four Horsemen. I think that was a cool choice.
I really love both of those characters anyway.
Yeah, very cool characters.
Both played by very talented actors.
They have some very, very killer action sequences in the trailer, very briefly showing Olivia Munn's action scenes. Her scenes look awesome, like the way they implemented her powers with her slicing like the debris in front of her, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. Obviously, Fassbender's going to knock it out of the park because he's been amazing as Magneto from the get-go.
That scene that you're referring to where she slices that car in half and comes through the middle of it, that is very reminiscent of one of my absolute favorite moments in the Final Fantasy VII movie, actually, when someone chucks their motorcycle at the main guy and he cuts it in half and it goes on either side of him.
Final Fantasy VII for you is like Dark Souls for me. We can't go an episode without
not mentioning it. Yeah.
Yeah, I am actually looking more forward to this because of this trailer. But one of the other first things I told you was this should have been their first trailer.
Yes.
What kind of sucks, and what a lot of these...
we have Judgment Day.
Fate is what you make, Ron.
I just imagine, like, Arnold, like, showing up in a van. Come with me if you want to live. What
I don't really get, though, is how poorly a job Hollywood does in a lot of instances about not realizing that the first trailer you show someone
is the most important. It's your first impression, just like meeting a person.
First impressions are just as important in fiction as they are in real life. If you start out with a really, really fucking bad trailer, Ghostbusters, after then, it doesn't matter how good your trailers are because you're doing damage control.
Yeah.
You're trying...
Unless you're Ghostbusters, you just make it fucking worse a week later.
Oh, you thought that one was bad. You ain't seen nothing yet, bitch. You just brought piss to a shit fight. We had to find a way to work that out. I've been watching Silicon Valley. Good God, if you haven't watched Silicon Valley, watch it. It's so good. But yeah, looking more forward to it. Philip had the same reaction I did, kind of similar to you. More interested, but still,
meh.
Leaves a lot to be desired because we're going to talk about the next trailer. Holy shit fuck, dude. Holy
shit fuck, Batman.
We are going to talk about Captain America Civil War, and we are as timely as always because we are a week behind in reporting on this because... I'm pretty sure the trailer for this released like 8 hours after we recorded.
Yeah.
Last week. So yeah, obviously, we're going to talk about Captain America 3. I'm trying to just keep, from shutting up because we were playing the trailer in the background and it's so fucking gripping. Even though we can't hear anything, it's still fucking gripping.
You just don't really want to take your eyes out. You're just kind of focused. And let me tell you, goddamn, this is how you make a trailer. I mean, it tells you enough. Well, not necessarily telling you everything. It probably tells someone like you or me still more than we want to know. But
in today's spectrum, it does a very good job of not showing you all the cool shit.
But I mean, the music almost seems like it's composed specifically for the trailer. Like it's just incredible. Everything the way that they've put it together.
And why don't we talk really quickly about just kind of like before this trailer came out. Your thoughts on this project as a whole, because you were always really curious about what we're going to talk about in a little bit, the Spider-Man element, but
yes,
you were kind of meh on the concept of them fighting each other. So why don't you give a little bit more info on that?
I've always just found it... I've never really found it as interesting to have hero versus hero, which is all 2016 is turning out to be so far. But... this trailer kind of turned me around on that a little bit. I'm a lot more interested in this movie now than I was because of this trailer. And the problem the Marvel movies have always had, which we've said many times, is they're underdeveloped villains.
Outside of like 3 of them.
Outside of like 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, 3's being nice.
And what the fuck's his name in Ronin? Okay, Guardians of the Galaxy. I always have
We have to play Password to figure out the fucking villain's name. It's like, Guardians of the Galaxy. Bad guy.
Big hammer. Angry for no reason. But, it's going to work more. It's going to work better for Civil War just because you've now spent like 12 movies with these characters and you're highly invested in them. And the way the teams are divided up, you don't have just one favorite. And you have a favorite that's going to be on each side of the fence.
Yeah,
so.
That actually leads perfectly into my next point. Because 9 times out of 10, I agree with your opinions on it before you saw this trailer. And that it is kind of arbitrary to have hero versus hero.
Yeah.
Why it works for this is, A, like you pointed out, they've had a lot of, poor villain development. And they've done... heroes versus villains 12 times. This is the 13th film in the MCU. So by that point, I think it's okay to mix it up.
Yeah.
It's actually, it actually kind of works out easier for them to do this than I think it did with Batman v Superman. The only out they have with Batman v Superman in that their second movie is them fighting each other is because their little out is that's how Batman operates.
Right.
Batman's a control freak, and he will want to fight and take care of that problem,
Yeah. And the other thing, too, is, at least in my opinion, most of the Marvel villains are not as good, like as far as design and stuff, as a lot of the DC villains. Like I have a lot more favorite DC villains than I do Marvel villains, but I have a lot more favorite Marvel heroes than I do DC heroes. DC for me really only has the Trinity and like the Flash. And
I like Green Lantern.
I like Green Lantern.
He's just been
Do you, Jeff? Do you like Green Lantern? Sitting there with your Green Lantern
shirt. It's
St.
St. Patty's Day. Of course I'm going to wear Green Lantern. What the fuck are you talking about?
Do you have the ring, too? But...
it's a well-stated point.
Yeah, so... Where the fuck was I going with this? Okay, so...
Marvel has the heroes, DC has the bad guys.
Right. So... You know, outside of like Spider-Man villains and maybe just Spider-Man villains for me, really, now that I stop and think about it.
Iron Man's villains are dog shit, and you've seen.
And he's like everybody's favorite movies in the MCU that are not named Avengers. So,
man, I mean, dog shit, like.
So,
painfully like bad. Like,
once again, it works out well for Marvel to have them fight each other, and then in DC it's just kind of like meh because they have so many cool villains to pick from. I don't know.
Yeah, with like how you were talking, like they did a good job of setting up favorites on each side.
Yeah,
I agree with you. What it made me think of was a movie you or I typically wouldn't like that we've kind of compared it to is the movie Warrior. Yeah. What makes that movie work is the fact that you don't have a rooting interest. Like, it kind of turned it on its head of the typical formula of like a Rocky movie.
I would think it would be more accurate to say, I know what you're trying to say, but I think it'd be more accurate to say that you're actually interested and invested in both sides rather than you don't have a particular interest.
Not black and white.
Yeah.
It's
because
gray.
You sympathize with both sides of the fence.
Yeah, I think they did.
You're invested in both sides, and you're just kind of in the middle. Like, why is everyone fighting?
So why don't we talk about obviously what everyone came to not listen to us talk about?
Black Panther looks fucking awesome.
Well, I'm not even making a joke about it. He does look fucking awesome in this.
No, I know, but my joke is no one's fucking talking about him.
No. More people are talking about him than Captain America. He's in the Captain America 3
Black
movie.
Panther is fucking Michael Bay when 10 Cloverfield Lane comes out. That's Black Panther.
Basically. We just got to that badass scene where Black Panther takes out the Winter Soldier's motorcycle. That is so fucking metal, dude. Like, he's running like freaking 60 miles an hour. But yeah.
Leaping car to car.
We're going to talk now about Big Reveal, which I still can't fully wrap my mind around.
It's so weird, too.
It's so awesome, but so fucking weird when Robert Downey Jr. calls out Underoos and Spider-Man lands literally in the MCU.
Yeah.
Like, it's so... he's in the trailer for like 10 seconds, and I've had a week to digest it, and I can't
process
my
it.
brain, like, because we've gotten so programmed to having these movies over here and the Spider-Man movies over here, that when it's like fucking peanut butter and chocolate, man.
We spent the entire time going, man, I sure wish Spider-Man wasn't over here. I wish he was over there. And it finally happens. And we're just like, hey, they got Spider-Man in my Avengers.
Yeah.
Hey, they got Avengers in my Spider-Man.
Because like we talked about it earlier, this trailer was incredible.
Yes.
Even before the cherry on top, which was Spider-Man.
Yeah, here we go. Takes the shield. Lands, and then that.
Mind blown when the eyes narrow.
And you notice how they set that up, right? Like, the entire time the eyes are the same size, and as soon as they narrow is when it cuts. And you're just like, what?
And they narrow when they do the final zoom in, too, with the camera.
They want you to fucking see what they've done.
Thoughts on the costume?
I love it.
I love it, too. It's
Nobody else does. I do.
No, it's mixed. There are a lot of people who really, really like it.
Yeah. That's the most polarizing part of it, I think. I have yet to hear anyone argue about Spider-Man being in the MCU. And I have heard no one mention the Deadpool-ish CGI costume.
It's going around. A lot of people were kind of saying, like, well, they're kind of piggybacking off Deadpool. What I don't think they realize is that they're probably filming simultaneously.
Yeah.
This comes out, I think, May 6th. And when did Deadpool come out? February?
Yeah, it came out in February.
Yeah, and
they had to have been filming.
They were filming simultaneously. It's not like this came out a year after Deadpool and they were.
By the way, we finally got the logo we've all been wanting on the back too. But here's the thing: I've seen some people talking about how they don't like the CGI costume. We're not talking Green Lantern CGI costume here. We're talking about a guy that's basically wearing underoos, and then they've done a little bit of CGI to give him the iconic look from the comics and any video game you've ever played, where you can see every bit of his physique through the costume. They've kind of gone over CGI with
it's
that.
almost like comic shading,
yeah,
with the muscles and stuff like that.
Yeah, it's not like they went in and just kind of animated his entire costume onto his body like Green Lantern.
If there were two characters you could get away with the CGI costume and amplifying the eyes, it is Spider-Man and Deadpool, because they joke with who they're fighting like the whole fucking time. So it adds a lot to it. And anyone talking shit about this, first of all, shut your fucking mouth. Because we got Spider-Man in the MCU.
Be happy with that.
In basically Avengers 2.
Yeah.
And
true Avengers 2.
Anyone bitching about any part of this, seriously, reevaluate your life. Because we live in a world where we had Avengers 2 and we get to be shitty about it, not liking it as much.
Yeah.
If Avengers 2, Age of Ultron came out in 1998, we would have shat our pants.
Yeah.
Like, we are so fucking spoiled. Like, before I get on, I could have a whole podcast about bitching on the internet. But yeah, I love the costume. We were talking earlier, I think probably, if you looked at the costume in person, like what they're actually filming, it's probably just blank red and blue. And everything else is added in.
All the lines and graphics on the...
It's amazing we're in a world where they can do that, because, like, what they can do with the eyes, like, we haven't even seen the full effects on the eyes.
I am curious about Spidey sense.
We've often talked about maybe doing, like, the left side of the face is Spider-Man, right side of the face is Peter Parker, kind of like in the comics and cartoon.
Yeah, what I was kind of hoping what happened would be, like, the flashing negative colors like the cartoon would, and then
the negative lightning bolt type things, like...
Yeah, that happening, and then, like... opposite quarters of the face being uncovered, and then opposite quarters being covered, and it like switching back and forth between those two.
They're gonna do a lot of cool shit with that character.
Yeah.
If you haven't read it yet, I encourage people to go and look at.
I honestly get the feeling that one of the biggest complaints with the Andrew Garfield movies and the Tobey Maguire movies is he always loses his fucking mask, right? But one of the biggest things that everybody says about heroes that wear masks is they don't want them in the mask the whole time, so they can't emote or anything. So it feels like, to me, they're setting up Spider-Man to never really have to remove his mask for any reason in the fight.
They get best of both worlds, basically.
Yeah. So he can emote through the mask. I'm sure that they stuck all the shit to his face like they did Ryan Reynolds. They're probably his emotions you're seeing through the mask.
I think it's going to be amazing.
And I think you're going to see his reactions in some shape or form through Spider Sense.
Yeah, they're going to do something cool with that, and I encourage anyone...
I want to hear the sound from the cartoon. That I would weep in my chair if I heard that sound from the cartoon.
I encourage anyone to look up the IGN article from the last couple of days where they were talking with one of the Russo brothers, the director from this and the upcoming Avengers movies, the two-part Infinity War thing. They were basically saying, like, they were really, really pleased with the way the trailer revealed Spider-Man.
Yeah.
They were okay with doing the reveal then for a trailer as far as waiting for the movie.
Because, once again, most of the time, people that made the movie have no control over the marketing department. So they had no idea what was probably going to be in this trailer.
Yeah, I would probably imagine, because they have their shit together better than most companies, they probably, at Marvel, give them a little bit more say than like, say, like... Zack Snyder, I guarantee you, had nothing to do with any of their trailers other than the Comic-Con one, because he presented it in person. Yeah, I love the costume. I think it's going to be great. I love Winter Soldier to death. I'm fascinated to see what the Russo brothers do with an actual Avengers lineup.
And I know we just had the one line, but he kind of sounds a little bit like Spider-Man from the cartoon, to be honest, when he says, "Hey, everyone." So the way he said it, number one, it sounded kind of sarcastic, like everything he said in the cartoon. But his voice tone and everything, too, he sounds a lot like the cartoon Spider-Man.
They picked a British kid. He'll be a good actor. They're all fucking good actors. They like grow them on trees over there. Yeah. So I was already, fucking... We could not be more excited for Civil War. because I'm a little bit closer because it is a comics event. It's going to be very loosely based on a comic I read, but I think I'm a little bit more plugged into it and excited about it just from that aspect. But now everyone's on board with this 110% because this. Because like I joked about the Ghostbusters like to dislike ratio. This is like 99%, like literally 99% like to dislike. Like
it was insane.
You can't beat that. So I think a lot more people. I think those negative comments you're seeing about his costume stick out because they're so rare. Like, I think there are a lot more people liking it than disliking it. There's just the people who are disliking it are the people who are being more vocal about it, probably, because it's usually how the internet goes. But yeah, any other closing thoughts on Civil War?
It just needs to hurry the fuck up.
It really does. Another superhero crossover we can talk about. Supergirl and the Flash is actually something that's popping up in the next couple of weeks. I think it's March 28th is when they're having Grant Gustin appear on and be a major role in the Supergirl episode, which is what do you think about them bringing him to the Supergirl show as opposed to the other way around?
I don't know. I thought it was kind of an odd pull, but at the same time, odds are a lot of the people that are watching Supergirl are probably watching Flash and Arrow and everything else anyway. I mean, it's not like it's a different audience most of the time. I bet part of it was just a straight-up business decision. Yeah. Because Supergirl... She's on a bigger network. Supergirl is on a bigger network, but honestly, if you want to probably break down the ratings, CBS kicks CW's ass overall. Right. But out of the demographics they're aiming for... and them not being happy. Just think about the exposure Flash is going to get from the advertising for the crossover alone on all the other CBS shows. I think that's a big part of it. It worked for them because you and I are going to be watching it, and we don't even watch Supergirl. Yeah. So I was planning to marathon it when it hit Netflix. It won't hit Netflix. It's CBS. It's going to go on CBS All Access, which you can pay $7 a month for, Ron. But don't you want to watch Star Trek? But it... here's the thing. If you really stop and think about what CW is doing, we have Batman through Arrow, we have The Flash, and we have potentially Superman through Supergirl coming over to CW for crossovers if everything pans out with this. Because they're all Berlanti productions. And she appeared in Flash first because they had a little... Easter egg. Yeah, they had the Easter egg of her. And we're already potentially going to add Legends of Tomorrow to the fucking crossovers at CW. Oh, I think they've already confirmed that, basically. So we can have our own version of Justice League on CW and just through crossovers. You and I already watch... you quit Arrow, but... And proud. Hashtag no shame. I still watch it painfully. So if I start watching Supergirl... Hashtag shame. Cue up the bells. I still watch Arrow, so if I pick up, like, let's say I get caught back up on Supergirl, I will have a Berlanti superhero show Tuesday, Wednesday, or what is it? Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and they're going to do more shit eventually. You know they will. That's why I always joked if Constantine was picked up by CW, that's their Friday show. It would be every day of the week. Why you got to bring up Constantine to make me sad again? I know. How cool would it be if he eventually got brought back for Legends, dude? Oh, I know. Shit my pants. He was on one episode of Arrow, and it was such a big deal. You even watched Arrow just to watch Constantine. So I don't understand why they haven't pushed more to get him back, but it would be amazing. Yeah, I mean, I actually really like the actress. I've only really seen her in Whiplash, but I liked her in that. I've never seen her before. I think it'll be good. It'll be, since they made such a big deal of it, it'll be written by Berlanti and I think Kreisberg is the other guy who's crossed over onto CBS with him. And they see the other thing they're going to accomplish too, like you mentioned earlier. You and I both adore The Flash, and we've never watched Supergirl, but we will be watching on the 28th. And if I like it any way, shape, or form, which I probably will because it's going to be written by those guys, I'll actually go back because I've liked what I've been hearing as far as the deep cut Supergirl's been doing. Here's the thing that's intrigued me. All the podcasts you and I listen to, all the news stuff that we read, all shat on that show before it started, and then after it started, all those same people have fucking loved it. Well, like, it did have a little bit. It did have some growing pains because I have heard even Kreisberg, the producer himself, talk about the first 2 or 3 episodes, which is perfectly fine. Not everything is The Flash or Legends. It just hits the ground fucking running. Like, I see what you did there.
Again, unintentional.
The unintentional punster.
Yeah, I totally lost my train of thought. What was I talking about?
Hit the ground running.
Yeah.
2-3 episodes a week.
It's like, they have such a high standard for these fucking DC shows where, like, they had 2 episodes of mediocrity. They were like, fuck, we dropped the ball. Like, Arrow has entire seasons now of mediocrity. Like, you guys are fine.
Mediocrity is good for some of the stuff that's in those seasons. So,
I think it'll be good. I'll be checking it out. And if I like it in any way, shape, or form, I'll find a way. I'm not even fucking... Fuck you, CBS All Access. I'll find a way to watch it.
Just not through you.
Just not through CBS All Access, because fuck a lot of that, assholes. God, that year. I had a whole other podcast on CBS All Access, too. Fucking pisses me off. Not even a Trekkie, and it pisses me off.
Something else that I'm on the fence about, I don't know you, but it just depends on where this show ends up, I guess. Not much to say on this, but DC has registered the name Pennyworth. And some way or another, out of that, they got that it's a TV show. Because that part was like the only other confirmed part of the article was Pennyworth TV show. And everything else is speculation, but they are thinking it would star Alfred in his MI6 days, but there's the slight chance it could be Julia, but no one knows who the fuck Julia is, so I'm leaning more towards...
I am current on the Batman New 52 comics. Well, it's not New 52 anymore, but that run where she was basically introduced, I had to Google her. I forgot she was a character. Yeah. So, I'm not gonna be Julia, I can tell you right there.
I'm thinking it's gonna be Alfred in his MI6 days, probably James Bond style, which could be cool.
If it's not fucking written by the Gotham people, it'll be cool.
That's what worries me. If it's a spinoff in any way, shape, or form of Gotham, because their thoughts are it may be the dude playing Alfred in Gotham.
Sean Pertwee.
Which, I'm fine with him. He's a good actor.
Pertwee, I don't know how to pronounce his name, but yeah, that guy.
He's a good actor, but the problem I have is the Gotham ties. So...
if it's on Fox, it's fucked.
Which it most likely will be.
Because I don't know... Now, obviously,
for CBS.
Obviously, everything Marvel is now Netflix or ABC. Cut and dry. The DC stuff is a little all over the place.
Yeah.
Supergirl is on CBS.
Yes.
You got all the CW stuff. Like, they're a little bit more...
Constantine was on NBC.
Yeah, they're kind of all over the place, so you don't know. Odds are it would be on Fox because it fucking pisses me off. But Gotham has gotten really good ratings.
Not only that, it being Gotham and them having Alfred Pennyworth as a character, they probably have more ownership to the rights or more claim to the rights
at the moment. Yeah. I don't know if it's on Fox. Fuck it, because my whole
if
thing.
If it's good, they'll cancel it in the first season. If it's terrible, it'll run 20 seasons and piss us off.
Yeah, there's no reason to watch anything on Fox. Just fucking cut and dry. One more thing we forgot to talk about with the CW stuff. While we're still on the DC bandwagon, CW officially renewed Legends of Tomorrow for season 2.
As far as I read, there was an article that was literally titled "CW renews everything."
Yeah, there was like 1 or 2 shows that got axed that were just bullshit. I don't remember the titles of them because like CW has a lot of garbage on their network. But yeah, it all got renewed. This is kind of an obvious story, but I wanted to include it because there was a lot of talk about Legends being too expensive to where it might be kind of like a once every other season type of thing.
Yeah.
Because if you watch Legends of Tomorrow, which you should because it's fucking awesome, you can tell they're throwing some money at that shit because
they are.
Something blows up usually every 5 minutes.
And for the graphics to look, I mean, they don't look as great as some other stuff, but it's in its first season. And
it's a CW show.
And it's a CW show, and they look fucking awesome for any show to be in its first season. Doctor Who didn't look nearly that good in its third season, probably.
Probably not till Matt Smith time when they got their budget increase with Moffat did it look as good as Legends does now. Like, it's been crazy. There's special effects. The special effects.
It was probably the third season the first time we saw the TARDIS fly through the city. Right. So it was like
Legends and the Flash. Like, their special effects teams. Like, Jesus, they're so good. King Shark was awesome.
Nothing about that episode should have been awesome, but it was.
He looked fucking scared. He was like a street shark in jeans,
basically.
Yeah, and he scared the shit out of you. Like, you could not give more kudos to those guys. Those guys fucking amazing. But yeah, I think that's a wrap to all the DC stuff. We got another comic-related TV show to talk about real quick.
Fuck yes.
Preacher, which we just talked about last week.
I know nothing about. Could not be more excited.
Right, and I have read, and I fucking could not be more excited. So that's good for them. Very good for them. They probably a big reason we've had so much news this week is because of South by Southwest. It's actually become over time a pretty big deal.
Yeah,
it's not, we're not talking New York or San Diego Comic-Con level, but it's a pretty big deal nowadays.
Which, if this was work, imagine when we get back to our lightning round Comic-Con.
Oh god, do you remember we actually had a full E3 video game podcast?
Yes.
Like, that was a thing. I don't think we've had that many video game topics since that one.
We usually only have like one or two, and we had like a full hour and a half episode
of just games that we will never play.
Well, to be fair, like 45 minutes at least was bitching about No Man's Sky. So just the utter mention pains the chest.
Did you know a game would cost you $60?
Oh god,
to do nothing. But yeah, back on topic. Stay on target.
Pay you $60 and then just sit here. It would be more enjoyable.
I'd pay you $60 to kick me repeatedly in the balls, because at least I can record that and get some YouTube hits off of it. That's where I stay with No Man's Sky. But yeah, Preacher. They premiered the pilot at South by Southwest. Getting very, very positive reviews for the most part.
And like I always say, in my opinion, almost always the pilot's the weakest episode in a show, unless you're Arrow.
God, Arrow. We find a way to get everything back to bitching about Gotham, Arrow, No Man's Sky. It's like the fucking punching bags of the World Experts. But yeah, they premiered the pilot, I think, on Monday. Very, very, very positive reactions. A podcaster that I follow a lot, whose opinion usually falls in line pretty closely with you or me. He's actually correct, this guy I'm talking about, in liking Man of Steel, so he has that going for him.
Oh, wow. I already like him.
There's a whole fuck ton of people who hate that movie for no reason, so yeah, that's one selling point. He really, really liked it. He's also familiar with the comics heavily. The thing going around was it was faithful in tone, but it's not going to be a direct adaptation.
Okay.
And if you have read the comic at all, that is totally understandable, because that comic in its purest form cannot be adapted, because it is so fucked up. It is so twisted and so fucking weird.
Yeah.
Like, there are some things in that pilot which you're after what you've seen so far and what you've heard, it's going to make you like, wait, what? There's a whole lot of elements of this.
I have a feeling that a lot of what we saw in that trailer is probably from the pilot too.
Yeah, if not all.
Yeah.
There's a whole lot of elements that are going to be in
that trailer that is like, what?
And you haven't seen half of it, because like there's some weird, fucked up, crazy shit going to happen in this Preacher show.
I heard something about vampires. That was all I needed to know.
Yeah, that's part of it. We're just like, wait, what? Yeah. That was what I was most concerned about, is because, to me, as long as you get the tone of what you're adapting, it doesn't have to be cut and dry copy and paste. Because a lot of the time, if you try to just cut and dry copy and paste, it all goes to hell.
Yeah.
And then if it is just purely throwing the shit up that people have read up on the screen, you're not giving them anything new to experience. Like, because this, 98 times out of 100, what's in book or comic format being adapted is never going to be as good as the source material. So
right.
why would you just, copy and paste it? That's just my whole thing. A lot of people are bitching that it's not maybe, the exact thing you saw or read before.
But it would never work.
It would never work.
It would never work, because the difference between what you can do in a written format versus what you can do in a TV show or a movie, it just never translates, because you can be so much more intimate and spend so much more time in written format. You don't have the time on screen, on any screen, big or small.
I also recommend people to Google the images coming out of South by Southwest of their fucking props and stuff. They had a full-scale upside-down church from the poster, which was just fucking amazing just to look at, even if you have no interest in watching the show.
I'm surprised that even made it there.
Yeah.
In this day and age of the world of protests and everything, an upside-down fucking church
it was so,
being on display.
It's so metal, dude. Oh my god. It made me happy just looking at it. The images we've seen coming out with the leads. Oh, one thing earlier, I hadn't even realized that the girl in the flower dress from Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. was
I've seen her
Tulip.
in the trailer.
Yeah, I guess that because you're so used to seeing her in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. either as
well. To be fair, the last time I saw her, she was like a prickly lizard woman. So
yeah, I was about to say the same thing. Yeah, and she was that way for a while, so that did kind of stick in my brain apparently. Yeah, she's.
Did you imagine her husband at home like, "You're not going to turn into that thing, are you?"
Deep cut Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. jokes going on. Yeah, I think she's a good choice for Tulip. Obviously,
I liked her in S.H.I.E.L.D.
Yeah, I liked her too. She was a good addition to it. I'm Dominic Cooper.
Yes.
He's great and everything. I'm sure the guy for Cassie is going to be cool too. Yeah, I'm fucking really looking forward to it. They added the composer from Breaking Bad. Breaking Bad had some great music with it. And one of the producers, I think, isn't one of the producers from Breaking Bad too?
They
have some tie
I don't remember.
to Breaking Bad in some way, but it's fucking AMC. When's the last time AMC made a bad show?
It's been a while.
I can't even think of one on top of my head. Yeah, I think it's gonna be great. Comes out in May, so definitely looking forward to that. Another thing coming out of South by Southwest is actually popping up tomorrow.
Fuck yes.
We have news saying that Telltale's Batman series, which end of story, sold.
You had me at Telltale, really, but then you threw in Batman.
Well, actually, we'll get to that in a second once I talk more about the news article. But yeah, we have word that Telltale Batman is going to be popping up tomorrow, actually, at some point during a Twitch live stream. For people that you might are going to be at work, unfortunately, or called in sick for Daredevil. We're going to be occupied, but they are live streaming it for anyone who wants to catch it. The first reveal of this game, they had a teaser trailer, very, very cool one, but showed nothing.
Yeah.
Better than the actual Batman v Superman trailers. Showed nothing. But
and
yeah.
they showed everything.
Very, very cool little teaser trailer. I also recommend you check that out. By the time this actually comes out and is heard by anyone, the actual trailer will be out, but I also encourage you to check out the teaser trailer because it's very cool.
Yes.
But we're supposed to be getting our first look at this. Now, obviously, it's Telltale. It's going to be story-driven. And if that works for anyone, it works for Batman.
Perfect.
He's the... What is the name of the comic?
Detective Comics.
Detective Comics.
What is he generally not?
A detective.
Which is a shame.
Whole lot of bat nipples on the costume. Not a whole lot of detective work going on.
I kind of get the movies. There's a lot to squeeze in the movies. Animated series did a pretty good job. They had
as much as you can in a 20-minute cartoon for kids.
Yeah.
It was presented fairly well. In Batman Begins...
It was presented a lot better on the Bruce Wayne side in Batman Beyond because that was all he did.
Yeah.
Well, Terry was the muscle and he was the brain.
In Batman Begins and Dark Knight... those two, of the first two of the Nolan movies, they did a pretty good job. They didn't do as much as they should, but they did a decent job.
Yeah.
They did it a lot better than the Tim Burton and Joel Schumacher runs, because I can't even remember any detective work in those, honestly.
He did. I remember in Batman 89.
A little bit. Like, it was a lot of him looking at a screen.
Basically. It was him pondering at a screen most of the time. But
for the time, you can't complain.
Yeah.
But for nowadays, I think this is probably going to be... the closest, if it's good, and it's Telltale, usually they're good.
Usually.
It could potentially be the best representation of comic Batman since the animated series, honestly.
Oh, dude, they can do so much, because you know they're going to animate it similar to the comics to begin with.
It's going to be dark and gritty. It's going to be... I bet they actually don't go as full cell shading as they do on, like, The Walking Dead, because I bet they want to probably give it its own flavor just because it's Batman. It was... Walking Dead is huge for them, but Batman, nothing is as big as Batman over the last decade or so. So yeah, I think it's gonna have its own flavor to the art design. I actually, you were talking about how you were kind of sold at Telltale. I love the first season of Walking Dead, but I've honestly kind of fallen off of their games because of the episodic format.
Oh yeah.
I don't play episodic games usually. Even that one, I waited till it was collected.
I don't play them episodic, but I do appreciate some of the stuff they put into it, like. When you start when you end episode 1 and it says like next time on The Walking Dead.
Yeah,
and
actually
it
like a TV
shows
show.
some of that,
It's
and
pretty cool.
Then when you go into episode 2, it'll be like last time on Walking Dead, and it shows some of the decisions you made as the recap.
Yeah.
Like, that's pretty fucking inventive, and they do a lot of cool stuff like that.
They do a lot of cool stuff. It's just kind of like a personal choice, because when I play video games, I usually will play them in like 8-hour chunks to, beat the whole game over a weekend, not, like a normal person where they play like an hour a day type of thing,
Yeah. So.
That's just a personal preference. But yeah, I will be playing this episodically week to week because it's fucking Telltale Batman. I think it'll be really cool. Cannot wait to see footage coming out tomorrow. I think it's going to be really cool. Speaking of fucking badass video game trailers, man, it is embarrassing.
I was about to say the same thing.
It is fucking embarrassing, this next story.
Oh my God.
We're obviously huge Platinum fans. We've talked multiple times about the Transformers.
I cried in the Transformers Devastation game.
Transformers Devastation. I love that game. I don't give a shit about Transformers. And now they're actually working with part of my childhood with the Turtles. They're doing their next project, just the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Is it Mutants in Manhattan?
Yes.
That's the full title. They released a full new gameplay trailer, and it is fucking 10 times better than the garbage that Paramount's throwing out.
For like $200 million or whatever.
I put that in the notes that you will see with the YouTube posting. It actually said, I believe, I'm paraphrasing, Platinum continues to make Paramount look bad when it comes to Turtles trailers or something like that. It is so much better. And it's almost like, in a lot of ways, showing the same stuff.
Yeah.
But it's presented so much more professionally and so much cooler.
Because Bebop, Rocksteady, I mean,
and at the
everything.
end, what did they show?
Krang.
Ish. Ish, which is how it fucking should be.
They allude to him. You see the top and back of his head and hear his voice.
Yeah, Paramount and Warner Brothers.
Yeah.
Doomsday and fucking Krang from the Paramount trailer. Like, what the fuck are you thinking?
Yeah.
I was like, how many?
Okay. I have never been more scared of Shredder in my life, by the way. He is horrifying in these trailers.
Yeah,
and now he's got the Predator claws. Like, come on.
Yeah, the game is coming out May 24th. Go on YouTube Platinum, TMNT. We'll probably find you all the stuff. But the newest one, I think it's listed as a gameplay trailer.
Yes.
Really quickly, what are your thoughts on the concept you and I talked about earlier off mic about you are actually controlling all 4 turtles, but you're picking who you want to control at the moment? That seems how it's going to go. Because the gameplay actually always seemed to kind of be the 4 turtles together fighting the big dude,
Yeah. That's the way it appears to me in the trailer, is you may not be actively controlling all 4, but it seems like to me you can switch
on the fly who you want
to be.
Obviously, they're probably each going to have their own
strengths and weaknesses.
They're probably going to have some sections where if you need to hack something, it's going to be Donatello, or
Deus Ex hacking.
Oh God, don't it's like the fucking redheaded stepchild of our channel, Deus Ex. But yeah, I think if they pull it off, that like on the fly switching, like a D-pad button corresponds to one of the 4 turtles, that'd be so cool.
That'd be amazing.
That'd be amazing.
Although, to be honest, I probably would never switch from Leonardo, as he's my favorite. So.
My favorites,
him and Raph.
My favorites are Michelangelo and actually, what's funny is your favorite is Leonardo. My least favorite is Leonardo.
Really?
Yeah. Just because, like, I mean, I love all of them.
I was going to say, that doesn't mean you don't like him.
They're all the fucking turtles. It's just like the other...
He ranks 4th.
The other 3 have a more specific personality to them, I might say. Like, he is the leader, but Donatello's...
He's got a pretty specific personality, though.
But... Like Michelangelo's the funny one. Raphael.
Michelangelo can drive me nuts.
Raphael is the one who's always pissed off.
He's Brooklyn.
and Donatello is the smart one. Like,
yeah.
I don't know. I'm not saying no. It's like
I know.
I still love him.
There will be war. Is what this is turning into. Don't you shit on my Leonardo. You're my boy, Blue.
But yeah, seriously, watch back to back the Paramount Turtle trailer and this one. Just to laugh.
They just fucking throw Krang in the middle, and you're just like, what the fuck? And then the game made him menacing and did not show you a goddamn thing.
It's like, I'm pretty sure these people are cutting together these trailers in Hollywood. They're just like, you know what? Not enough third act twists. I have to say, do it again. Do it again. We got one more thing to talk about before we head on out. This is fucking fascinating to me, dude. I'm not going to buy this stuff, but just the stories behind this are fascinating. They
have my attention, but not my money.
Factually correct, Ron.
Man.
VR. I am on the fence about it. Ron couldn't care less about it. But man, is it not fun to watch these like kind of wars go on between the companies?
Oh yeah, dude.
It's so much fun. It's just like
it makes for such a good talk on a podcast.
Because, okay, let's recap a little bit. Oculus was the first one to come out with their price point. $600 for the thing
Bullshit.
itself. Requires a $1,500 to $2,000 PC to run your $600 piece of hardware. Go fuck yourself.
Yep.
And doesn't even work on Mac?
No. In fact, the exact quote from the article was, "We'll make it work for Mac when they decide to make a good computer."
Because, you know what? Let's go and alienate people who like to spend a lot of money on electronics when we're trying to sell an expensive electronic.
No one, I'm saying this as an Apple guy, no one is willing to spend more money for a product they believe in or like than Apple fans.
And by fans, you mean Apple junkies. Like, they're passionate about it.
Yeah.
Like,
so,
I don't know,
a lot of you,
You don't have to have a fucking MBA to know that what he said was fucking stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the Oculus part of it. They started out at $600 retail.
Which was stupid to begin with.
Which was fucking idiot. Because, like, I'm on record.
I could get a Mac Mini for almost that. I could get an iPad for that.
I'm on record. I think any more than 150 and 200 is bonanza. But yeah, let's continue the story. So people are saying, well, Oculus comes out and says they're $600. Everyone freaks the fuck out because the Oculus development kits were like $300.
Yeah.
That's respectable. That's a lot more than I would personally be willing to pay for, but for early adopters who are interested, that is perfectly fine to me.
So HTC said, you know what we can do? We can do you one better.
$200 more, they come in at $799. Now, in their defense, it's supposed to be like the Mercedes of this shit. Doesn't fucking matter. No one's going to buy it for $800.
I would put that towards a Mercedes car payment before I put that towards HTC.
This is unproven technology.
Yep.
What the serious fuck?
And I like HTC. I'm sure it's a good product in comparison to the rest.
Every time we talk about this, my mind melts because it's like fucking Zuckerberg.
I'm laughing because you people cannot see his expressions as he's talking about this.
Zuckerberg owns Oculus. Like, what the fuck, man?
Which I always wondered how he felt about the Mac comment.
Yeah, that's a good point, actually. I hadn't thought about that. But yeah, so after the Oculus thing happens, people are like, oh, HTC's going to go and undercut them by... If you undercut them by a fucking dollar, you undercut them.
Yes.
Business 101. Again, I don't have a fucking MBA. It's not rocket science. I understand the shit they should for actually making the fucking products.
Yeah.
Yeah. So after that happens, they're just like, well, you guys are fucking high because no one's going to buy this shit. And then we had one left, and that was the Morpheus. I'm just always going to call it the Morpheus.
Yeah.
Because it's a cooler fucking name than PSVR. So after HTC had a chance to undercut, and they failed miraculously, people were basically kind of like conceding the fact that, yeah, Morpheus / PSVR is probably... I was guessing since Oculus was $600, they were going to undercut them if they did it all by like $1. Like, it was going to be like $575. Like, just to get the cheapest price point, because out of any of them, Sony can probably get away with it more just because they're an established gaming company already.
Right.
$400 they got it in at the starting point.
Yeah. So
$200 cheaper than the unproven company in Oculus, half the price of unproven gaming company HTC.
So that is beyond shots fired. That is the gauntlet thrown.
And
here's where they won the war.
You only need your PS4, which a whole fuck ton of people already have.
Yep.
Because it outsells the Xbox One to this day 2-1.
People
roughly.
A lot of people were giving up their Xbox Ones for PS4s.
Yeah.
We reported on that.
That's all you need, and the only other peripheral you have to buy
is a $60 piece of
$60
hardware.
piece of hardware. You don't need a fucking $1,500 or $2,000 computer that will only work right now. Because the PC Master Race, yeah, your shit's cool, but you have to update your shit like every 6 months.
So if you add that to the price of the PSVR, you're at a whopping $460. compared to
the PS4
$2,000.
The PS4 now retails for I believe $350. They've eventually shaved off the $50.
But if you already had the PS4,
well, let's just be nice about it. Let's say you do have a PS4.
okay,
You can go in the store, and if you're really into VR, you buy your PS4 for $350, and you buy the Morpheus for $400. You paid $750. Throw on your $60 piece of hardware, which I saw earlier on a deal on Amazon for $45.
okay,
PS4 plus hardware you need in the camera plus Morpheus,
$810.
cheaper than the fucking HTC Vive.
Yeah.
Already won. Like
This war is over before it started.
If VR sticks around, which it's still asking a lot for people to buy the $400 piece of hardware, you and I will not do that. But for early adopter price to get into that price point, because it will get cheaper over time.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. Like, at least one of them understood that concept of it. Like, it's still too expensive for me, but you know, if like, let's say you were one of those people who were really interested in the Oculus, would you fucking pay that for the Oculus, or would you just say, "Oh, I've already got a PS4. I'll just go pick up, you know, the Morpheus."
Yeah.
And the cherry on top, when Oculus HTC were talking about their game selections, the buzzword they were using was quantity. You didn't hear jack shit about what you're going to be playing. You're going to be hearing how many games you could play. It was either 30 or 50, I think was the number Oculus dropped, and HTC probably dropped something similar.
Yeah.
PS4 Morpheus and shit like that. Battlefront, Star Wars Battlefront, and Uncharted 4 were some of the names thrown around. Now,
goddamn,
it doesn't matter, even if it's a full experience. If it's one level of Battlefront, or one level, or a demo of Uncharted 4, that is more important and more sellable than 50 bullshit little move controlment, bullshit games you'd get on Oculus. Yeah, like, fucking crush them. Absolutely. Like, it was the equivalent in VR of what they did to Microsoft at that E3.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
Yeah, no, they just tore them all a new one, and nothing, like I said, the battle between them all hasn't even started yet, technically.
You know what? I'm not going to buy any of this shit, but I love sitting back, eating my popcorn, and watching them fight. Because I told you before, man, I wish I had fucking...
like Eddie Griffin in Undercover Brother.
I wish I had on camera that Oculus bro who was like, well, when Mac makes a good fucking computer, herp to herp to herp. I wish I had his reaction to seeing them come in at $200 cheaper than his fucking product. Like, that's awesome, dude.
When Sony makes a good console, we might jack our price up to match HTC's.
Man, if VR... I'm still skeptical that VR ends up being a thing in this instance. I think eventually within 20 years...
I don't think it'll be a gaming thing. I think it'll eventually die out as a gaming thing. I think it'll be in universities and military.
I think within 25, 30 years, VR will be a part of gaming.
The Air Force already had a supercomputer made out of a whole bunch of PS3s interlinked together. So even the military will probably be buying PS4s now.
Right.
Just to save on the VR.
Now, the one thing that kind of...
They run Linux.
The one thing that appealed to me, though, about the Battlefront part of it, too, is how cool with it. Like, let's just imagine, hypothetically speaking, this is the only Battlefront-related thing they have on the Morpheus. But could you imagine doing the Death Star run in the X-Wing from VR? If you're looking up and you're physically seeing Darth Vader taking out your bros, that would be fucking cool, man. Like, you would kind of shit your pants if you're physically looking left and right and you're seeing Darth Vader taking out your dudes with you. I think it'd be really cool.
Only if I get to yell Yahoo into the microphone, then I'm sold.
Or what if it's from Force Awakens doing the Star Destroyer run in VR? That would be kind of cool too.
Is that the same thing?
No, well, it's a Death Star versus, Crash Star Destroyer. Like, I mean, apples and oranges, honestly. But yeah, there's a lot of cool applications, I think, with Star Wars specifically in first-person ship combat that I think would be really cool.
I'll tell you right now, you want people to fucking buy it up, you throw Star Wars around. It don't matter what you do.
Because this is going to be coming out in October, too. That's something I didn't mention. The PSVR launch comes out in October.
Oh, that's going to be just ahead of Black Friday.
Just ahead of Black Friday and a couple months before Rogue One, when Star Wars fever is going to be hitting back again. Like, they're going to make, even if it's a bullshit 3-minute Star Wars demo, it's going to sell a lot of copies. But yeah, man, I love the VR stuff, dude. I love it. I love it. I love it. We appreciate you checking us out if you've made it this far through our podcast.
And sticking with us.
I think I ended up getting like a 10-minute rein-in about Oculus and HTC.
Yeah, something like that. The first 35 minutes was the movies.
No, I think the first 25 minutes of the podcast was us talking about Daredevil, and another 25 minutes of Civil War, and then everything else is kind of flown by. Yeah, lightning. Yeah, we appreciate you checking us out. If you'd like to get all of our content, make sure and like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. You get all of our Let's Plays, all of our podcasts, all commentaries, everything goes to the YouTube channel. The social media links, we have them in the description, don't we?
Yes.
If you want to follow us more on social media, check out the links in the description. And actually, one more thing, we would actually really appreciate it if you liked our material to recommend us, to a friend or family member that you think might like us too. It gets our viewership up if we can get spread out and the word out. So yeah, we appreciate you checking us out. I'm Jeff.
I'm Ron.
And we will see you next week.